Now, on today's edition of NFL Free Agency Profile, we are going with DJ Reed, former cornerback from the New York Jets, set to hit free agency. And I got to tell you what, it's been a very funny story. He was interviewed, I think, toward the end of the New York Jets season. And he basically just looked at the reporter dead in the eyes and he said, "Get me the hell out of here. I am hitting free agency and I am seeing what other defense I could potentially be a fit for." And do keep in mind, he is a CB2. So really any team that is looking for a quality addition right to their secondary, he might be the guy. Now, for several years, this guy was in the top 10 for DVOA. Last year, not quite as much. See, the biggest problem with DJ Reed, and much like I think for a lot of the New York Jets defense in 2024, was just lack of motivation. I think we can all agree that that New York Jets team was a dumpster fire as far as a culture was concerned. Firing Robert Saleh when that team was still not even dead, and they end up completely replacing him with a guy that had no business in being a head coach in the NFL in the first place. So I think a lot of the concerns about DJ Reed based off of his numbers in 2024 can largely be overlooked. He's a very, very good corner, and I think that he would fit in perfectly into several teams within the NFL. As you guys can see, I'm a giant Buffalo Bills fan, and the Buffalo Bills do need a CB2. But for everybody that's tuning in, curious about DJ Reed, maybe you want to add him to your favorite team or you would like to see him be a part of your favorite team, stick around, baby. We are having a great time. Now, I do want to remind everybody, please do me a favor, smash that like button. It is the easiest way to support me. I'm going to be doing a free agent profile for each and every single player that is a pending free agent this year. And also turn on those bell notifications. I could assume a lot of you are watching the replay of this. I want you to be a part of my live chat community. So if you turn on those bell notifications, you will have the opportunity of tuning in live where you can be a part of the conversation. Some DJ Reed. I do want to give a giant shout out to today's sponsor, and that just so happens to be BetUS. Folks, BetUS is the number one sports book on the face of the planet when it comes into everything and anything sports betting. And since it is free agency time, ladies and gents, we already have all of the lines for several players. Deebo Samuel's next team. I don't know. What are you thinking? Cooper Kupp's next team. Aaron Rodgers' next team. Devontae Adams. The whole nine is right in front of you. And BetUS is currently matching 150% of your first deposit all the way up to $2,000. And then also 125% of your second and your third deposit. So certainly give BetUS a shot and use code YouTube150 to take advantage of that overall opportunity. Now, what I do want to take a look at is DJ Reed. We want to have a conversation to see how his production has been throughout the past couple of years. And there was several games where I would suggest he was better than Sauce Gardner, even in 2023 and 2022. It was a lockdown secondary for a while in New York. And I think that he would fit in almost perfectly. As you can see, when you pull up his overall numbers, because he's really not a corner that's going to go out and get the sexy stats, right? He's not a guy that's going to be dominating in interceptions. But as far as coverage, as far as being able to dominate, stick with his wide receiver, sticky coverage, if you will, solid in DVOA for several years outside of 2024. But again, I want to remind everybody not to look at that. He could really be a solid addition to quite a few teams. You have 2023 at a 77.9 overall grade. His coverage grade is regularly in the 70s. And again, guys, remember, this is a CB2. All right. This is a CB2, not a CB1. 77.5 in coverage grade. 2021, same exact situation. So a very quality sort of corner that a specific team would almost love to bring in on the action, if I could tell you this much. But now it's coming down into the conversation. How much is this fool going to cost? How much is this going to cost a team? And I know Bills fans are watching this being like, I don't know, Dan. We need a damn CB2. Should we entertain this situation? I'll tell you what, he's not my favorite for the Buffalo Bills. All right. He's not my favorite for the Buffalo Bills. I think that there are a couple of other options that we could look into. I do agree that I do want a veteran or somebody with NFL experience to fill this mold. But still, for anybody that is dead set on adding DJ Reed to this overall team. Stay tuned because we're going to be unpacking quite a few things from this guy on today's edition. Now, according to Spot Track, and keep in mind, he's 28 years old, right? He's 28. And this is not like an edge rusher, and this is not like a quarterback. Like once you start getting into the late 20s, closer to 30, that's when you kind of start to have a conversation. I don't know what kind of money this dude is going to be owed in 2025. But according to Spot Track, guys, we are looking at a $14.7 million average annual salary. 4 years, $58 million average salary, as we can see, 14.6. Now, this is based off of other players across the league. We have Jair Alexander, we have William Jackson, AJ Terrell, who is a stud. No one talks about him. I feel bad that he is on the Atlanta Falcons. And Charvarius Ward. They come up with this market value based off of contracts that have been signed in the past. We have Charvarius Ward, a 3-year contract, $40 million value. And that's where everybody is trying to compare our good friend DJ Reed. In my opinion, if I was a front office guy and I was looking for a solid CB2, I wouldn't be paying this. I would more than likely want to go on ahead and get it closer to about 11 to 12 million on the average annual salary or average annual value. Because remember, he's not a CB1, and all that Spot Track is doing right now is pointing out a bunch of different corners that are known for CB1s within their overall team. So very intrigued, want to see what they do here. Now, we have to talk about potential landing spots for this guy. I would not be surprised if several teams are in on the conversation because free agency is closed, folks. And so I almost called you fools. It's way too early in the morning to call you fools here. But I think that there's a couple of landing spots that make sense to me. Number one is the Green Bay Packers. Jair Alexander is going to be hitting free agency as well. He does not want to return to the Green Bay Packers based off of reports that I have been hearing. So the Green Bay Packers are certainly in need. They have the cap space. I think that that would be a tremendous addition. Number two is the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that they need a lot of help all across the board. Now that you end up putting in Pete Carroll, a defensive-minded guy, I think that DJ Reed would also fit relatively well. Like you put him opposite of Woolen. I think that this is a wonderful secondary and excuse me, not Woolen. I think that you add a corner like DJ Reed, who probably would be a CB1. For some reason, I was thinking the Seahawks there for a second. And my boy, Knock Andrew, I think DJ Reed would be an awesome fit for your defense. And do not be surprised if you start hearing rumors that the Raiders are looking for him. That could be something as well. And then next up, I have the San Francisco 49ers, because as many of us know, all right, Charvarius Ward does not want to return to San Francisco because of a personal trauma that did occur to him, right? His daughter unfortunately passed away, I believe, earlier this season, where he had to spend a lot of time away from the team. And he was interviewed and was said, I have to get out of here. It causes way too many broken memories. Have to get out of here. So what I think is interesting is I think that the San Francisco 49ers are going to be number one when it comes into looking at this overall free agent. So we are going to have to see. So right there, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay. I have the San Francisco 49ers. I think we could add the Arizona Cardinals in there as well. I think that they could certainly benefit from having a couple of extra corners at their overall disposal. And first team that I ultimately ended, Packers as well. So that right there is the wow, holy hell. I need some coffee. That right there is the DJ Reed free agency profile. Let's go on ahead and get to the chat. Now, folks, again, if you are watching this replay and you want to be a part of my live chat community, watch these episodes live, I highly recommend that you hit that notification bell. That way you never miss an episode. But for future reference, I am live each and every single Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. EST and 5:15 p.m. EST. Smash that like button and let's get into a chat. Draft a corner from the Goobers. Lots of good ones. So I'll tell you what, man, I had a fortunate event or I was fortunate enough to attend the Senior Bowl, and I saw quite a few solid corners, right? Me personally, like I said, I think the Buffalo Bills will be going for a corner in free agency and also double dipping in the draft. But I don't see Reed being a fit for this team. He's just far too expensive. I think that there's a couple of other free agents that we could go after. And remember, Sean McDermott is one of the best in the game, especially with the cornerbacks coach we just brought in over in Buffalo as well, who has a great resume of being able to get the most out of specific corners. I don't think a name like DJ Reed really makes sense for the Buffalo Bills because number one, we're strapped for cash and $14 million per year for a damn CB2. Nah, I'm good. But I still want to go on ahead and hit free agency. And then afterwards, I also want to double dip in the draft. Derek is coming in with a solid question. We could take the worst cornerback in this year's draft and he would still be better than Kyer Elam. Derek Cunningham, it's funny because I've been seeing a couple of mock drafts where that and then also mock trades or mock off seasons for the Bills, like all season long. And I've seen a couple of people like put up, oh yeah, like the Buffalo Bills are trading Kyer Elam over to this team for an X round, right? And I got to tell you, nobody is spending any draft capital on Kyer Elam whatsoever. Nobody is. Now, a couple of corners that really stood out to me during the Senior Bowl, and then I'm also excited for us to like actually be at the Combine. I'm not going, but a lot of the guys over at Roundtable Sports are planning on going over there as well. I love Azareye'h Thomas, right out of Florida State. I think that he would be integral to any defense that wanted to roll the dice on him, and he's like a second guy, etc., and go from there. So things are looking fantastic. Should they trade some picks to get a third or another second round pick? So where it stands right now is that this Buffalo Bills team has a first round, which is 30th overall, and then 2 twos, right? So we also have the Minnesota Vikings pick. So we have 2 picks basically back to back at the end of the second round. I could potentially see Brandon Beane trying to finesse something. I could see a couple of players that could be on the trade block this year as well, but time will only tell. Time will only tell. Let me see. Oh, DTN, just to clarify, will the Dan Mitchell show be live on this channel or on the Roundtable Sports channel coming up on Monday? I am so glad. I am so glad that you asked that question, DTN. It is going to be live on Monday at 10 a.m. EST. No, excuse me. It's going to be live at 11 a.m. EST over on the Roundtable Sports channel. And afterwards, I'm going to be live on this channel on the Buffalo Bills, right? So my stream on this channel will be moved an hour later. So no longer at 11 a.m. EST, but now noon for about an hour. But I will be having a Dan Mitchell show going around. So go subscribe to the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel. I'm super excited. I'm lining up a bunch of guests so that we can just talk ball. It's all NFL content. We are absolutely ripping it apart. A bunch of free agency talk, some draft talk, the whole nine. Some guests are going to be absolutely incredible. We have Derek Cunningham coming in and saying our picks are 30, 56, 62, and then 107 or 108, depending on how many comp picks there are. Like, we're swimming in them. So we're swimming in them. And when it looks into Brandon Beane, or like when Brandon Beane is involved in any sort of draft process, you know that he hits home runs within like the 3rd through the 7th, right? He's been struggling as of late, I guess, like in the 1st and the 2nd. And largely that's, so recency bias. But we shall see. Would anyone take our 2-round picks for a 1? And would you pull that string? So, Jonas, I'm not going to lie to you, man. No, right? Because I feel like this draft class is very similar to 2024, right? Where all the first-round picks are very top-heavy. So once you end up getting into the 25th or 26th overall pick, like by itself, it just completely washes. Like players that I wouldn't put a first-round grade on. There's a lot of sleeping talent like right in the second, third, and the fourth round as well. So very intrigued, very, very intrigued to see what happens there. That is for damn sure. We will pay too much for a veteran, and this is a really good CB draft. I mean, listen, I think that we're going to go on ahead and we are going to double dip. And I don't think that we are going to pay a lot, right? Yesterday, when I was talking to Kevin, who was on the stream, and we were unpacking the Vaughn Miller contract, one thing that he said that was super interesting, he mentioned a name called Asante Samuel Jr. He was a CB2 over with the LA Chargers. He suffered through an injury. And from what Kevin was telling me, he was saying that this Buffalo Bills team absolutely loves to go on ahead and bring in players that have some sort of an injury history because they're confident that they would be able, super confident that they would be able to rehab them if absolutely necessary. So I love that. So go on ahead and definitely check it out. Would anyone take 2 rounds? And would that pull the string? I don't even know what we have here. We have Hi Papa Matthew the Fourth. What's going on, man? Hope all is well. Folks, please do me a favor. Roll call in the chat right now. All right. We have 125 in general right now. We have 60 on YouTube, 63 on X, 2 on Facebook. Roll call in the chat and let me know where you are tuning in from, what team you are representing. I want to hear it. I want to see how far this audience truly extends. Don't be shy. Let me know. I know all of you are free agency junkies out there, NFL junkies, hence why you're tuning in during the offseason. But let me know where you are tuning in from. Roll call in the chat immediately as you hit the like button as well, folks. As you hit the like button, let's pump this up. Pump this up to 50 like buttons. I think that we could do it. If we can't get Xavier Watts in the second round, then I would want Andrew, Makuba, or Billy Bowman, Oklahoma. Derek, I got to tell you something. I am a massive Billy Bowman fan. He is a 3rd and or a 4th round pick or a 4th round grade. He's solid, right? And a lot of the safeties that we have been seeing coming out of this draft class are strong safeties, and we need somebody that actually excels in coverage. And Billy Bowman is that guy. He is somebody I'm looking at the draft board, and I am absolutely dead set on potentially bringing him in on this damn team. Wouldn't that be something? But damn, man, we're going to have to see. We have Boston. We got Buffalo, obviously. We got Kansas City in the chat, man. We have all over. I know that we have overseas guys watching this. We have Las Vegas, man. Look at all these people coming in and showing a little bit of love. Dan, will you be going to the Combine for media reasons? Idaho, Cat, what's going on? So I'm not going to lie to you. I am going to stay home, but TD, Richie, and then 2 of our guys from Roundtable Sports will be there. So I highly recommend that you follow Roundtable Sports during that point. We are going to be at the Combine. I'm super excited for y'all to get the coverage, but for me personally, I hate traveling. I absolutely hate traveling. I hate living out of a suitcase. And if I have too many trips back to back to back, I need to be able to take a step back and just stay home for a little bit. So I am skipping out on the Combine. However, I do plan on going to the draft in Green Bay, which I am very, very excited about. Very excited about. Go Bills from Oklahoma. Ina, what is going on? We have Idaho. We have that. Of course, I'm here. Go Bills. Puerto Rico Bills is in the chat. Rochester, New York. I am in D.C. Clay Stevenson, you are the man. With the potential hate that Max has for Kansas City and Mahomes, should it make Bills fans want him more than Myles Garrett? So I'm going to tell you what, I did a full episode on whether or not that the Bills should put their hat in the ring for trading for Max Crosby. I highly recommend you go check that video out. He's solid, man, right? Like he would be a solid addition, but the problem is that he would be a bit more expensive than Myles Garrett. From what I understand, Myles Garrett said that he is willing to go on ahead and restructure his contract and take a pay cut just so he could play with a team that has a shot at being a contender for the most part. So Myles Garrett's probably more on the top of my list. Sending Bills hate from Bradenton. Wow. Look at that, man. Go Bills from the Bronx. Ring of D win. That's my guy. Bronx is rolling on in. Hot take. I want Mad Max Crosby more than Myles Garrett, specifically because of his hate for Patrick Mahomes. Oh, look at that. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Listen, we're also talking about a Myles Garrett that every Halloween he sets up a graveyard of the quarterbacks that he decides to sack each and every single game. So we are going to see. We definitely can't afford Max Crosby. You would be surprised what the Buffalo Bills could afford, especially with Brandon Beane. Ideally, say that we wanted to afford him, we could, but I still think Myles Garrett's a bit more financially responsible. Trey Hendrickson, Donald Darko is coming in about Trey Hendrickson. Don't worry, man. We're going to be putting out a video about Trey Hendrickson here soon because I might as well do a video about Trey Hendrickson and his potential fit with the Buffalo Bills. So have no fear there. Have no fear there. Look up Tartaria, the hidden history of the oh man. All right, guys, listen. We have to keep it on topic here. So I love each and every single one of you for coming on in. But if it's not about free agency or the draft or anything along those lines, then I'm just going to have to like mute you because I want to be able to make sure that people that are watching the replay of this stream and the people that have tuned in to talk football are not distracted and or their experience is ruined. So definitely keep it on topic from the streams, guys. All right. Or otherwise, we're going to have to mute you for a little bit until we teach you a damn lesson. Garrett said he will take less money to leave. He certainly did. Cat the Hat. Thank you, Cat Stumbo. I appreciate you. Fresh out of Idaho, sending me a $5 super sticker. You are so sweet, Cat. Thank you so much for all of the love. And do you think Dan's size matters at cornerback since DJ Reed is a small corner? It just matters about athleticism, right? It just matters about athleticism, DTN. And he is relatively smaller, but again, I don't want people to look at this guy like he's a CB1. He is a CB2. He ideally is going to go to a team that already has a bona fide number one on the perimeter of the field. So I'd probably go with no. Like he's super athletic. His numbers are there, particularly within DVOA. But then we shall see. Dan, I am an ECU alum. Have you seen Siobhan Revel? ECU, East Carolina. Dude, I heard that school was absolutely nuts. And so I went to Coastal Carolina University. Equally as nuts. So I'm not sure if you ever spent any time down at Coastal Carolina University, all right? I have heard good things about him. I don't believe he was at the Senior Bowl. He could have been. It's been a couple of weeks. But I've heard really, really good things. And trust me, I am going to be unpacking everything that I can about all these draft prospects as well. Solid dude, I'm assuming. Like, what's his shtick, right? So is he a slot guy? Is he out of the perimeter? Is he fast? Is he a 50-50 guy? Tell me about Siobhan. I got to know. Tell me about that. Derek, I know you like Jalen Royals. What other wide receivers do you like for the Bills out of the draft class? I love Jaden Higgins as well. He's not so much as fast. He's not so much as fast as Jalen Royals, and he's probably more of like a second-round talent, but his route running is absolutely disgusting. Tez Johnson is very good too, but he's sort of like a slot receiver, so it would be redundant so to bring him over to the Buffalo Bills. And then Revel, I'm going to have to go on ahead and check it out. I'm going to have to check it out, guys. I am diving into the draft heavy once free agency is all said and done. It was nuts. I've been to Coastal. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, most definitely. Coastal Carolina University. Shout out CCU. Shout out CCU and shout out. It's my fraternity brothers out there. Pi Kappa Phi. Look at that, baby. And so who's surprised that I was a frat guy? Absolutely nobody. The Goobers are coming in saying, to be honest, I think we need to pick our first because I don't think that there will be many good defensive tackles afterwards. So the Goobers is coming in saying that defensive tackle needs to be an absolute priority. So interior is big, and specifically somebody that can line outside or alongside the center, like right within the trenches, or a nose tackle / one tech. All right, listen, I love Walter Nolan. So right out of Ole Miss, he could potentially be a guy for us. And then Baker out of Kentucky. He's not really like someone that fits like Brandon Beane's like history of defensive tackles rate that he takes, but that could be something. So we shall see. I was thinking of having DJ Reed at New England since him and Gonzalez can work well together, even though we have several small corners, but I can understand technique also matters besides size. And it really goes down right into coaching as well. Like, I do know that y'all lost your corners coach, who is now a Buffalo Bills coach. Thank you for that. I'm super excited to see what he can do for Buffalo. But then again, like you have Vrabel, right? So he's going to be able to scheme out and get the best. Like Vrabel is the sort of coach that plays to all of these players' strengths. Like he's not going to go out ahead and make DJ Reed do something in which that he will fail in. It just depends on whether or not that he's a scheme fit. So, with that being said, who knows? Trade the first for Miles, use both seconds on safety and corner. I feel Daquan Hardy will be good. So I'll tell you what. I would probably wait for safety right in the fourth because number one, like we need a free safety. Like we don't need a strong safety. Vast majority of the safeties you see on the draft board, folks, are strong safeties. What we need is a safety that excels in coverage. And my favorite, which has already been said, was Billy Bowman. He is out of Oklahoma. He is a true free safety, and he has like a 4th round grade, like a 4th or a 5th round grade. I think that he would do well in a Sean McDermott defense. I really, really do. Corner is interesting, right? Because we could go for like a super cheap vet. And my buddy Kevin, his favorite is Asante Samuel Jr. out of the LA Chargers, right? He would be cool. And then an insurance policy would probably have to be an Azarie Thomas, who's right out of the 2nd round. So an Azarie Thomas out of the 2nd round would also be pretty intriguing. Super Dave Boston is saying, no more corners here. This Patriots fan says, absolutely not. I am good. Trader cut Daquan Jones. It's going to be interesting, the Goobers. I'm planning on doing like a full salary cap episode for the Buffalo Bills where I release players, I trade players so that like we can like get money. But I'm sitting here and I'm waiting to see what the final cap number is for 2025. We should be hearing it soon because we know that the franchise tag deadline is on the 18th on Tuesday. It's not the deadline, but it's when it opens up. So we'll be getting some conversations here. We need a defense. We now know defense wins championships. Yeah, like, so here's the deal. Like, pass rush is certainly important to me. Interior defensive line is certainly important to me. CB2 and maybe a field stretcher, right? A field stretcher, if you will. 33rd team compares Revels to Richard Sherman. He's 6'3", rangy DB with 4.4 speed and great vision. Siobhan Revels. Well, folks, looks like we have another draft profile that we're going to have to do. Siobhan Revels out of ECU, 6'3", 4.4 speed. Sign me up. Him and Benford, lock down Benford as fast as humanly possible. The Goobers, Barron from Texas, he is also a possibility. But damn, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Dom Mafia Live. Today was an episode on the DJ Reed free agency profile. If you were tuning in to the replay, I highly recommend you subscribe to this channel and turn on bell notifications because I want you to be a part of my live chat community. So certainly go on ahead and do that. I will be live on BetUS TV's The Huddle this afternoon. I am not having an afternoon stream because I have some errands that I have to run. I have some pre-commitments, so I cannot make a second stream, but I might come on in and give you a surprise stream on Saturday so we can unpack even more things about NFL free agency, of course, the Buffalo Bills, and go from there. I love each and every single one of you, and I will see you on BetUS TV's The Huddle here shortly. Deuces.